Let's talk about the ramifications of such. Let's start with this, though, fellas, because I did on MLB Now multiple essays on things like, hey, what can you pay one player? What can you pay Shohei Ohtani? I want to go back and see what I was saying at the winter meetings just a few weeks ago before he signed up. Let's talk about the biggest story of these winter meetings. Shohei Ohtani is a free agent, and here are some of the key questions to ask. What is Ohtani worth? What is he worth as a position player alone? And how much can you pay one single player on a 26-man roster? And be realistic about how many innings you're going to be getting from this DH. Here is Shohei Ohtani's line year by year as a pitcher. We did the math on this. Take a look, Dan, you'll like this. Here are some of the teams that are said to be interested with their payrolls from last year. Essentially, what we're saying is if you want to pay one player $50 million a year, your payroll had better be about $300 million. What it came down to is we figured out you can pay between 10 to 14% of your total payroll to one guy. It's 26 men, right? You got a 40-man roster, but it's 26 on your active roster. So even when I have another essay called up right here, Dan, I showed it to you, 16%. So let's go high end for Ohtani of say $285 million. And there's only a handful of teams anywhere near that. I had $45.6 million a year.
You're spot on.
And the AAV, what the Dodgers even with all the deferrals and everything else, but what they're going to have to pay on their payroll tax, because that's what matters, is $46 million a year. I mean, exactly what the industry was telling me, and what I put out there is what the Dodgers will pay.
Yeah, and I think the industry was shocked at the $700 million. I mean, we've never seen anything like this. I do think this is such a unique player. And the deferral part of it, really didn't catch me by surprise. Now, think about it, Danny, is that have we ever had a baseball player that makes this type of income off the field? Ranges $40, $50 million. So he's in a position to be able to create the flexibility. But one thing we haven't talked about is the Dodgers do have to fund this. Like in the CBA, they have to fund this. So they're going to have to fund approximately $290 million plus over the course of this contract for the deferrals when they begin to pay out. Now, the reality of it is they may make that in their increased revenue from Ohtani in multiple different ways to offset their funding that still gives them the payroll flexibility of what this deferral means. It's such a unique thing in the history of our game.
That's such an important point because, well, one, again, the AAV, what's going to be for the luxury tax, that's one thing. But again, he's going to be getting paid $2 million a year. And then starting in 10 years, $68 million a year deferred. But what you're saying is this isn't funny money. This isn't.
Oh, they have to fund
That's for the next owners. No. So you're saying they actually have to have that money in a fund saying, we're paying you, you just can't touch it yet.
And there's multiple different ways to fund it. You can do an insurance fund. There's a lot of different ways to do it. But no, there is a rule in the CBA that states very, very clearly you have to fund your deferral. You don't get a chance to write that check down the road.
All right. I want to know your reaction to this, because I think this shocked the world to see that number. It shocked me, Dan, to see $700 million when we were thinking 5, 6, it went to 7. Even if, and the craziness of the deferrals and all that, but what was your reaction to that number?
My reaction was astounded by the number, knowing that in 2024, he's not throwing a pitch.
Yeah.
The appeal of this guy is he is Garrett Cole and he's Aaron Judge wrapped into one. Basically, you're getting an ace pitcher and a frontline position player, guy that can hit for power. So you're getting both. But you're not going to get that in 2024. And there's some concern, will you ever get the Shohei Ohtani that we saw the first 4 months of 2023 again? Right. I mean, listen, we just assumed that every pitcher that has Tommy John, now they're saying that this surgery wasn't Tommy John, but I know it's not in there to go clean up bone chips or bone spurs, because if that was the case, he would be pitching in 2024.
Right.
So whatever surgery he had done, it was significant. So to me, the concern would be like, wow, are we ever going to get him back on the mound? But after I thought about this, the $700 million, the 10 years is astounding. But if you're the Dodgers, you're the Yankees, you're the Mets, you're the Cubs, you're the Red Sox, you can play in that area, right? I mean, you can swim in that water because your revenues are just so much greater than they are in Cleveland, Milwaukee.